Okay. Um, can you give some advice to the entrepreneur who maybe feels like they can't balance uh, both being a mom, being an entrepreneur, they're trying to start their business. They need a bit of motivation, a bit of inspiration, and they feel like maybe this isn't working and maybe this won't work for me. Can you talk to them for a bit?
I would say one of the first things that you should do is look into investing in a coach.
Hmm.
I really just think that we have this mentality that we can do everything ourselves. And if you've never done business, it's like, would you go and open up a shop today if no one showed you how to do anything? You just everybody needs, I think, a coach at some point. And I think if you're just going to do it, start off at the beginning. Do it right from the beginning. Your coach is not going to guarantee you sales. No one guarantees sales. Obviously, risk is from Allah. But I would say to have a coach is really, really beneficial. Or just get into, there's a lot of memberships with sisters and they're very low cost.
Hmm.
Get into one of those, and then you'll get to see other sisters in business and see how everybody's doing it. So you'll get to see, and I've seen people from different walks, to the six-figure ones, to the ones that are just starting out. And you'd be shocked, we all have the same issues. We all have the same issues with balancing and burnout and everything. So get into those spaces, I would say. Um, and don't have the most huge expectation from the beginning. Don't listen to these gurus online that are telling you you'll make six figures in 6 weeks. No, don't listen to them at all. That's not true. And even if you could, those people are single, most likely, or they're men, like I said.
Yeah.
They've got that time. You don't have that time. So be realistic in your expectations of yourself. Write down your goals. What do you want? What do you want to achieve? And why you're doing what you're doing. So that whenever you feel like, I can't be bothered to do this anymore, you'll go back to your why. What is your big why? What's the reason? And that will give you motivation. But really, I would say for me, what has been really instrumental for me and has kept me going, is being in the spaces with other sisters, and being around them online has really helped me to just keep going. And I always feel sort of inspired or motivated when I've just come off a group coaching call, for example, or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, today I know what I'm going to do. So just write down your goals, and really, I would say as soon as you can, really just get into the spaces of other sisters. Be around like-minded sisters, because there's going to be people around you as well. They're going to tell you what you're doing, it's not good, or you're going to fail. But those people have never done business, and you
Yeah.
you have to learn. You have to understand that you're learning how to do business.
Yeah.
You need to. It's a learning curve, and you're going to learn so much on the way. I would say to you, enjoy it rather than
Mm.
being stressed. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you've learned. Enjoy the mistakes, because those mistakes, you're learning from them. If you didn't make those mistakes, you wouldn't know a lot of things. So don't look at them as mistakes. Just look at them as learning curves, inshallah.
Inshallah. I love it. So,
Exactly. Yeah. I
alhamdulillah.
know at the beginning we do everything and we take it all on our head. But eventually you're going to have to start outsourcing at one point when you start growing, if you want to grow. And I always say to them, outsource your whole sales process with a website.
Yeah.
So people don't bother you. You can get on with making your products. You can get on
I
with
like
doing
that.
your stuff. Do what you need to do. You
Mm.
shouldn't be stuck in this sort of thing, but there's just a lot of fear sometimes behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Where did you go to learn how to design websites, especially the copywriting? How did you go about learning
So
those
is
skills?
at first with the drop shipping, because I had to do my own website.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trained by this e-commerce expert, like a seven-figure expert, and he showed me exactly how to do it, and what I should do and what I shouldn't do and everything. That was the first bit. Then I actually went into doing some actual coding. Although I wouldn't call myself a developer, I still call myself just a web designer, but I do know some back-end coding and UI design and UX design.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I did that online. Especially at the time of COVID, everything was online, so I did that online. And with copywriting, it's completely different. And copywriting, I have to say, has taken my web designing to another level,
Mm-hmm.
because with copywriting, we have, like, for example, we studied this what we call 10x page plan, which is literally how you take your customers on a journey. and you never get taught that in any of these other things. You sort of get taught the technical side of web design and UX and stuff like that. But this really took my web design. Again, I did it online with copy hackers. Really amazing. And yeah, so I learned copywriting through that. And copywriting, a lot of it really involves getting that sort of voice of customer data. So not just assuming you're going to write something that your customer wants to hear. You really need to get that data. So you really need to know what the products your clients are solving for, what problems they're solving for. And a lot of the time I get that information from them, but I do a bit of extra research as well. And so they get really shocked a lot of the times. They're like, we didn't expect you to ask us all of these questions. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing the copywriting for your website and I need to know who I'm talking to. And I remember I did a website for a sister one time, and her client said to her, your website, it's as if you're speaking to me, directly to me. Like, it's like it hits us so hard, all the copy on that. So a copy is equally as important, if not even sometimes more important, than the images on your website. It's good to have a beautiful website, but no, a beautiful website alone is not going to sell. You need to be paired up with good copywriting as well. So yeah, alhamdulillah, it was the best thing I ever did, to learn copywriting.
Alhamdulillah. So can you actually, I want to play a bit of a numbers game. You said you've been doing web design and copywriting for the last 2 years, correct?
Web design for the last 2 years. No, copyright. And I've always been doing the copywriting because I learned it but I actually officially became a conversions focused web copywriter December, actually, last year.
What's that?
Conversions focused copywriter. It was just a copywriter that is really focused on conversions.
Okay.
Which all copywriters should be, but yeah, it's just a copywriter. Yeah, but I officially got that qualification, if you like, just last year, the end of last year.
Okay,
although I was doing it all before anyway, but it really upped my game in copywriting.
Okay, so the copywriting has been for the last couple years.
Yeah.
Web design. How long has the official business been open?
It's been about a year and a half now, just over a year and a half.
Okay. And what's been sort of like your highest month versus your lowest month?
I'd say that I'm still in the infancy stage of business, in the sense that although I know how to do web design and web copywriting, doesn't mean putting yourself out there and you doing an online business for yourself in of itself is a learning curve. Branding yourself as the sort of the leader and gaining that trust. Again, I used to fall for all the people that would say, online, get yourself online within 6 weeks, you'll have this many clients. And I fell for all of that. And I used to go into these courses, and then it's just absolutely not true until I met sister and a coach. She's been amazing. And she's like, this is just not true. And it's really not nice that people really, ask people to opt in for like 5K coaching programs and they don't get the results at the end of it, because that's not how it works. It works that, that like, know and trust. And that takes time for people to know you, to like you, to trust you. You do. So I have been getting clients, but there's been times that I wouldn't get clients for like 3 or 4 months, and then I'll get a good few afterwards. So it's still that, it's not consistent at the moment. And that's just, like I said, I'm in the infancy stage. It's been less than 2 years. And, they usually say a business doesn't break even for at least the first 2 years, 2-3 years, so that's the reality of business. And even online now is such a saturated place. So you have to really learn how to stand out from everybody else. So there's been times that, yes, I just, God, I can't be bothered to do this anymore. I really just can't, because social media takes so much out of you.
It does.
And there was a time last Ramadan, actually last year Ramadan, I actually got hacked. So my whole Instagram was overtaken, and I was just like, no. I was like, oh, subhanAllah. And then I thought, no, let Ramadan be over. Concentrate on Ramadan, and then next year, after Ramadan, pick yourself back up, start all again from scratch, with a new following, and that's it. So I did that. So there was times that it's high and low, but then I've learned, because like I said, I go into a lot of spaces with sisters that are in business, and I've seen a lot of them as well, what they go through, and then it kind of reassures you. You think like, actually, this is normal.
Yeah.
And even top, big coaches, big six-figure coaches are on the same boat as you, believe it or not. There's times that they
Mm-hmm.
have their highs and there's times that they have their lows. So I've learned to sort of understand that I need to enjoy the journey,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just focusing on the numbers, because the numbers will come in time. But it's really important to enjoy the journey, because the risk is from Allah at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to miss anything that wasn't written for you. But right now on this journey, I'm learning so much. It's unbelievable. Like how I was now, from the time I started, I can say to you safely, I didn't know nothing about online business. And then now, you have learned so much. So I do actually really appreciate the journey, and you just have to be in it for the long haul, don't you?
No, yeah, absolutely. Can you give someone an idea who maybe they're interested in copywriting or even website designing, what they could look at, or even an estimate of what they can potentially be reaching for in terms of profit and income?
I would say at first, um, focus on building a portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So do web design for free, because people need to trust you.
Yeah.
Um, so do some web designing for free, or not free, maybe charge very small amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what you want from them is the website that you can show to people and their testimonial. So that's what you're getting exchange for them. Um, and then when you start putting it out, when you've got things to put out and start showing people, then you can start sort of charging more. And again, like sort of, I would say, like, take 5 clients at a decent price, not too expensive. Then when you've got those 5 that you can show, then you can up your price a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
slowly up your price. Don't go in there trying to charge 2, 3, 4K when you haven't even got any websites to show people. You're
No
not
proof
just
in the
gonna,
pudding.
yeah, exactly. So I would say don't just go in there unrealistically, because when it's a high ticket product, people need to see results.
Yeah.
And so I would say that definitely just start off doing some web design for free, if you, or very low price. And you don't have to do a huge whole e-commerce store, for example, because that would take a lot of your time. Just something quite basic, so that you can start showing people. But yeah, I would, and there's so many online courses that you can learn for web design, but you really need to focus more on going with, I learned coding and stuff like that and web design online, but they don't teach you really about the customer journey.
Mm.
So you need to, it's essential. Like, there's so many people that they're top web developers, but they make the most awful websites I've ever seen. I have to say,
No.
because it does not consider the customer. You go on there straight away, you're confused about what is this, um, what is this website about even? And if you don't catch people in the first 3 seconds and they don't know what you do, you've lost
It's
them.
over. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so like I say, you always have to have a value proposition right at the very beginning of your website, so people see straight away what you do, and they'll, and you have to hook them and stuff like that. So I don't think the end game is your coding or your web. You really need to learn about the customer journey. So you're going to have to, no matter what, get into that sort of sales mindset, because your website is selling, isn't it?
Mm.
It's not just a beautiful website, it is selling. So without that, I don't think your websites are going to convert very well.
No.
So yeah, so that's what I would advise.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Let's pivot a little bit to, you spoke about being a mom. So a mompreneur, right?
Mm.
And then also networking. And I actually seen that you had a post where I believe you had like your first networking event.
Yeah.
Um, how does being a businesswoman, being an entrepreneur, being a mom, and then trying to network in between all of that, how do you, chart that path?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think planning is key. I used to get really stressed out at the beginning because I didn't plan.
Mm,
And then I just thought I'd spend this amount of hours doing things, and then, or half the day, for example. And then I was just like, this is not working, because I still got the kids. The food needs to be cooked. The house needs to be cleaned. The
yeah,
kids are going, I've got to go and do the school runs. I've got to go and pick them up very soon.
yeah.
And I was just like, there's something that has to give here. But like I said, when I'm networking and I get into spaces of sisters as well, you get a lot of tips and a lot of help, and see how other sisters are doing it, and like time time block. So make it intentional. Have a journal, a diary where you write down your work. And that's one of the best things I've ever done is when I got my journal, my diary, and I don't take everything from my head, put it on paper, and I can just put it away. So I schedule in that day I'm going to do this day I'm going to do that, and stop trying to rush and do everything in one go. I've learned to take it easy and relax. That, there's going to be times when you're busy, but in general you just need to pace it out. You're not going to be at the pace of certain people who don't have kids, who don't have a family. We're not at that pace, and I think that's very, to be honest, very masculine anyway. Like we are not meant to be like that, to be honest. We're not meant to work 9 to 5 and do all of that, because if I work a good day one day, the next day I'm knackered. I'm like, oh, I'm taking today's a day off. And that's just that's who we are. We're built as women, we're not built as men. So we need to and that's something I had to learn, because I just thought everyone did that, but no, they don't. And we burn out when we try and behave like that and do things like that. So I learned to plan, take things easy, like stop trying to do everything. You can't do everything. I learned to make sure the people in the household work with me as well to do things, because I have some older kids as well. So they can do dishes, they can hoover, they can do, everybody's going to work, and we should do that. They do those things anyway, but I made it more emphasis on it, especially when I started this, because we're all in the house and everybody has to do chores. And I just learned to delegate. I really learned to delegate, honestly, and since I've done that, it's really been fantastic. And then I would, obviously, when it's time to go for networking events, that's just it's amazing. I mean, the stress of organizing a networking event, because I'm with a group called some sisters, and we're called Inspired Elevated Sisters, and they just focus on networking events, bringing sisters in business together. And so when we organize it, it's very stressful. When we get there and we're all able to meet and mingle with other sisters who are in exactly the same boat as you, it really does reassure you, and it gives you that motivation and inspiration to carry on. Whereas some sisters get tired and they're like, we can't do this anymore, we're just fed up, and of this burnout. And then when we all come together, it's really inspirational, I think. And you have to have people help you. You can't do it alone, honestly. If no one's helping you, you will get burned out and you won't enjoy it. Even if you're successful at it, you won't enjoy it. And what's the point then if you're not actually enjoying what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely, you're correct. Gotta enjoy what you're doing. I want to speak, because you used the word, so I want to kind of pull that conversation a bit about this whole masculine and feminine, especially when being an entrepreneur. You know, the last, I want to say maybe about a year and a half, there's been this real big debate between masculine and feminine, and what does that mean, and having that that what brings that sort of energy. So how do you deal with trying to maintain your femininity when you are a mom, when you are an entrepreneur, when you are, just a Muslim trying to just stay on top of your deen? How do you find that balance? Or how has that journey been in finding that balance?
Are you talking about in terms of business?
Yep.
In terms of doing business, yeah. Well, firstly, I think you need a good understanding. Like I said, that conversation's only been coming up the last year or so. And it's only when I got into the spaces of sisters in business, and that, they talked about it and they brought it up. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm like that. I didn't realize I'm behaving like that. I didn't realize I'm being like that. And they're like, we are not meant to be like that.
Yep.
We're not shaped to be like that. And we will burn out if we try to be like that. And then I thought, that's what I'm experiencing. And that's actually very, very true. So then that's when I came to the realization. I didn't actually realize. You don't realize you're doing it. You just think, because prior to this, like when I was younger, finished uni, working, even though I was married when I was at uni, but we only had one child, so I would work part-time. And it was only one child, so it's not a lot. So, and it was easy. Me and my husband worked partnership with each other, and then we worked, and so I'd work part-time 3 days a week, and he'd work full-time, and then we take care of the little one together. So it wasn't really an issue. But the more children you have, and the more the more children you have, the more responsibilities come with that, and you're not able to do things as you were. So when I kind of got into this online space, I thought it would just be like that, how it used to be before. It's completely, obviously, that's a bit naive of me. It's completely different. I thought it'd be easier because you're working from home. In some ways, it is easier, but some ways it's not.
Yeah. Pros and
Because
cons.
yeah, exactly. There's pros and cons. So I just make sure that when I listen to myself, I listen to how I'm feeling. I don't ignore myself, and I've learned to do that, and it's really good. If you want to do a task, you've got a task to do, and you've worked maybe the last couple of days, and something is telling you, oh, I'm so tired, or I don't want to do it. I just want to be with the kids today. I'm
Yeah.
just not interested. I want to go chill with the kids, take them out, do whatever. I listen to myself. And you have to listen to yourself. And that doesn't mean to say that we don't work hard when we need to work hard. We will work hard when we need to work hard. But for me, the whole reason I got into this is because I wanted to be with my kids. And then I was finding that I was neglecting them to do this. And I was like, you just contradicted the whole reason why you got into this. Do you get
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So really, I would say to sisters, listen to yourself, listen to your intuition. Allah has given us intuition for a reason. And if something feels really wrong, then don't do it.
Yeah.
If you want to go on a path, but there's something that's Allah telling you this is wrong, this is not, don't do it. It's as simple as that. Listen to yourself. You're in control. This is your business. It's nobody else's business. There's no right or wrong. There's just, you do your business how you want to do. And you might not make the figures that people talk about. So what? It's not all about money. Do you get it? Sometimes you might not, but it's not, even if you make some money, that is good. That's an achievement. And I think sometimes when we see on the online space, which I really started to get annoyed, I really get annoyed with now when people talk about we made 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures in this amount of time. But let's go behind the scenes and see what your life is really like.
Yeah.
What did you have to sacrifice for that? And I don't want to sacrifice for that. I'm not interested in sacrificing. And alhamdulillah, I'm content with what Allah has given me. Do you get it? And you know what? It will, in its time, it will probably increase. The more you take things step by step, your skills will increase, your ability will increase. Things will be easier for you, and you'll be able to do more things in your business. But I would say, sisters, listen to your intuition, and don't force yourself to do something when your soul is like, no, I don't want to do it. Then listen to yourself, inshallah.
Yeah, I love that because I feel like that's definitely something that women are struggling with. Sisters are struggling finding that balance, and then being an entrepreneur, it's very man dominated, especially on social media. It's a lot of go now, go hard, go fast. And so you have to choose, do you want to sacrifice that? And majority of us don't. We don't want to sacrifice our children, our home lives. And I love the tip of, if trust your intuition, trust your gut. Today doesn't feel like that day, don't go and push as hard today. Spend time with your kids, spend time on yourself. So alhamdulillah.
Definitely.
Alhamdulillah. Can you speak to that entrepreneur who is, trying to design their site, and they're just not converting? It's not making any sales, and they don't understand what's going wrong. Could you name like some familiar things that you've seen? This is kind of the typical things that go wrong.
Yeah, I see a lot of people they throw their products on the website straight away. So there's just a whole bunch of products on the website, with no explanation of who you are, even, a basic little introduction, what I call a value proposition, who you are, what you do, and the benefit of your product. You need to tell, I do such and such for this, and you solve that problem. Straight away, that will capture people's attention. But a lot of the times I see people just throw their products on the homepage straight away with no sort of organization, no categorization, no collections. So put things into collections, I would say, and label those collections. You can have bestsellers, but label things into collections. I see them overloading their websites with so many products. It's crazy. Honestly, that is what it's what I always say. If you do that to people, you give them analysis paralysis. They are just going to be so overwhelmed with all the information you've given them, they'll leave. I do that. Honestly, I do that when I'm overwhelmed with so many stuff. I get off and I just go, I said, no.
Yeah.
Simple is best. Less is more. Think of that. Less is more. If you know a product is not selling anyway, take it off your website.
Mm-hmm.
You know, keep the navigation at the top very clear. And don't put don't have too many things on your navigations. People miss out FAQs. I would say always have an FAQs. They miss out. Sometimes the contact is difficult to find. Contact should be in your header and your footer.
Can you explain FAQs?
Sorry, frequently asked questions. So all of those questions that people always asking you about your product, how's it made? How long is it going to take to come? How many? All of those questions, stick it on our FAQs page. Put that in the footer and the header, so that when people come to, they've got questions to ask. They can just, rather than coming to you and asking you and DMing you, they can go on your website and all the information is there for them. So that all you need to make sure that the information, everything is there for them, but in a very tidy and neat fashion. I would say that when you have product descriptions, don't just talk about what it is, what your product is, so the size and the dimension and the weight and all the things like that. Talk about what kind of benefit you're going to, how's it going to benefit people? How the features and how are those features going to benefit people? How's it going to make people's life easy for them? How's it going to save them time or save them money? You would think that you don't need to say it because they're already on my website and they know what it is and they saw me through social media, so they still need convincing then as well. They still need convincing at that stage as well.
Yep.
So these are the sort of the common things I would say. But another tip that I can give sisters is that ask somebody who is your ideal customer to go on your website and tell them to go and make a purchase, and then see it through their eyes. How easy was it to find your product? Where did they have to go through hurdles just to find your product? How was it easy? How was the checkout? Was it easy for them to make a payment? Look, if you're really not sure, ask someone to go and do that for you, and then get their feedback. And then you'll know exactly, actually, what, there's so many things that are wrong here that, and I think that's a really good way as well.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So, what does someone look for when they are trying to design their website or pay someone to design their website? What's a good price point? Is there ever too much? Is just too much?
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, people do it from anything from 1,000 to 3 or 4 or 5,000. Custom websites. People have custom websites, custom coded website. I'd say to you, do you need a custom coded website? Is it necessary? Because that's going to cost you a whole lot more, like up to 5-6 grand sort of range, 4, 5, 6 grand if you've got that. So they should be looking for somebody who's got a portfolio. And they should be, and that person should be, I mean, I did a post on this as well, actually. They should be asking you questions. They should be saying, what is the goal of your business? What's your branding? What is the purpose of your website? What do you want from your customers? This, that, all of these sort of questions that they should be asking you, because they should be not just doing what I call a tech setup. They should be designing a website that will actually appeal to your customers. And if they don't know anything about your ideal customers, they should be asking you, who are your ideal customers? What are their pain points and stuff like that. If they're not actually designing a website that is going to appeal to your ideal customer, then like I said, you're paying for a tech setup. And people can pay thousands for a tech setup, not knowing that actually you want more than that. You want your website to speak to your customers and appeal to them. So they should be looking. So if your web designer is not asking you any of these questions and they're just asking you, just send your pictures over and your product descriptions and that's it, then I'd say that's a big no. You should look at they should be asking you a lot of questions, because they want to make it perfect for you. They should be offering revisions as well, so they give you a chance to look, and if you don't like it, you can make changes or tell them what you want. So they should be offering revisions, definitely. People look for that.
Okay.
And they should actually be able to train you as well. It depends. I mean, again, a custom coded website, the issue with a custom coded website is you are never going to be able to make changes to it. So you're always going to be paying them to make any little, even if it's a minor change, you have to pay them to do it. Whereas if you're at least on a website builder, they can show you how to use the website. So
you talk about the two difference between a website builder and a custom coded?
Yeah, I mean, we have many website builders. For example, Shopify. I do Shopify websites, and I train my clients on how to use their website afterwards.
Mm,
You have like Wix, WooCommerce, or Wix. Sorry, not WooCommerce, WordPress. All of these types of and they are sort of drag and drop, if you like, or website builders. And you can go in the back and do coding if you need to. You might not need to. So you'll be able to manage that yourself. You should be able to manage that yourself if your web designer actually shows you how to manage it.
mm-hmm,
Well, with the custom coded, it's completely coded.
mm-hmm.
And if you don't know coding, you can't do it. It's as simple as you can't even change one line on your website because it's
Wow.
completely, the whole thing is coded. So that's the thing. I've had sisters come up to me and they're like, "We wish we met you before," because even trying to get to our coder now, they're not getting back to us, and I need to make changes to my website, and this is just a disaster. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't really need a coded website. I mean, there's some people that are really big businesses, maybe they would need a lot of things that are specific on their website. They may
Mm-hmm.
need a coded, but you're just a small business. You don't really need a coded, custom coded website. But it sounds good if you like, maybe. And so, but it's really difficult, and it's not nice that you have to keep paying somebody to update your website, And if you can't get a hold of them. And if you're in
No.
e-commerce and you're selling products, honestly, the only place that you need to be selling your products really is Shopify. It
Mm,
really is the best platform for product-based businesses.
okay.
Not necessarily service-based, but definitely product-based businesses.
Okay. So with sort of web builders like Shopify, Wix,
Mm,
Squarespace,
mm.
um, how does one determine, or would you say these are like really good, effective website builders, meaning you don't have to have your own website, you can make money sufficiently just using these website builders?
Well, they are website, yeah. Well, they are a website. They're website builders, but yeah, when you build your website, you'll have a website. So they are sufficient, more than sufficient. Absolutely.
Mm,
Most people use them anyway. A lot of web designers, even if they're coders, they'll use one of these platforms
yeah.
to build a lot. Majority of them, only few will do completely coded websites, like completely offered on a completely different platform that you don't know. But a lot of
Mm,
them use these website builders as their base.
mm,
Um, so it's more than sufficient. Yeah, I mean, a lot of sisters do run their websites on these platforms, and it completely works for them. But it's just maybe not converting as well, and it's just for other reasons, for example, copywriting and things like that. But yeah, it's more than sufficient.
okay. Okay. Um, can you give some advice to the entrepreneur who maybe feels like they can't balance uh, both being a mom, being an entrepreneur? They're trying to start their business. They need a bit of motivation, a bit of inspiration, and they feel like maybe this isn't working and maybe this won't work for me. Can you talk to them for a bit?
I would say one of the first things that you should do is look into investing in a coach.
Hmm.
I really just think that we have this mentality that we can do everything ourselves. And if you've never done business, it's like, would you go and open up a shop today if no one showed you how to do anything? You just everybody needs, I think, a coach at some point. And I think if you're just going to do it, start off at the beginning. Do it right from the beginning. Your coach is not going to guarantee you sales. No one guarantees sales. Obviously, risk is from Allah. But I would say to have a coach is really, really beneficial. Or just get into, there's a lot of memberships with sisters and they're very low cost.
Hmm.
Get into one of those, and then you'll get to see other sisters in business and see how everybody's doing it. So you'll get to see, and I've seen people from different walks, to the six-figure ones, to the ones that are just starting out. And you'd be shocked, we all have the same issues. We all have the same issues with balancing and burnout and everything. So get into those spaces, I would say. Um, and don't have the most huge expectation from the beginning. Don't listen to these gurus online that are telling you you'll make six figures in 6 weeks. No, don't listen to them at all. That's not true. And even if you could, those people are single most likely, or they're men, like I said.
Yeah.
They've got that time, you don't have that time. So be realistic in your expectations of yourself. Write down your goals. What do you want? What do you want to achieve, and why you're doing what you're doing, so that whenever you feel like I can't be bothered to do this anymore, you'll go back to your why. What is your big why? What's the reason? And that will give you motivation. But really, I would say, for me, what has been really instrumental for me and has kept me going, is being in the spaces with other sisters,
Mm.
and being around them online, has really helped me to just keep going. And I always feel sort of inspired or motivated when I've just come off a group coaching call, for example, or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, today I know what I'm going to do. So just write down your goals, and really, I would say, as soon as you can, really just get into the spaces of other sisters. Be around like-minded sisters, because there's going to be people around you as well. They're going to tell you what you're doing, it's not good, or you're going to fail. But those people have never done business, and you
Yeah.
you have to learn. You have to understand that you're learning how to do business.
Yeah.
You need to. It's a learning curve, and you're going to learn so much on the way. I would say to you, enjoy it rather than
Mm.
being stressed. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you've learned. Enjoy the mistakes, because those mistakes, you're learning from them. If you didn't make those mistakes, you wouldn't know a lot of things. So don't look at them as mistakes. Just look at them as learning curves, inshallah.
Inshallah. I love it. Can you tell the people where to find you? And also currently what you're up to? What are the goals for your business?
So you can find me at diamond.website.design on Instagram. And for me, my goals is really just really striving for educating sisters on web design, on selling your products, on I love it when I get sort of messages from sisters. Oh, thank you so much. I had a message from a sister the other day that said to me, "I've made my very first upsell on my store. I'm so happy." That's an extra sale she made without her doing anything, without having to feel sleazy and pushy and offering, "Oh, do you want this? Do you want that?" That makes that we don't like that. No one likes to feel like they're selling. So it's just really in educating, nurturing sort of my audience, and giving them understanding, inshallah. And yeah, obviously just seeing, inshallah, more and more clients come in, inshallah.
Inshallah. Well, Jazakallah khair for coming on. Thank you for sharing your advice and your tips. We
Well,
pray
just like
that
for having me.
yeah, I mean alaykum. We pray that everybody has been able to get a lot of beneficial knowledge from here. And without a doubt, we will leave it at that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.